topic. No, it's not. It's not a boring topic. Most major organizations and companies thrive on an ERP and they need it to survive. If they don't have it, bad luck, no ERP, you won't get paid. That's basically how it works with large organizations because they're integrated with their HR systems, with their manufacturing, with their procurement, with their contracts, anything and everything. Now, ERP systems have been around for quite a while. We all know them. Cloud ERP started about 20 years ago. Cloud ERP and is really taking off lately and has really been successful. Simply, why? Because of cost, you buy it per seat, which is way cheaper than having an in-house solution that you need to set up and maintain in your organization. Just buy it per seat, so it's also accessible then to small businesses and medium-sized businesses instead of just large financial organizations that and manufacturing organizations, logistics that used to all have ERP from the start when we're big customers of ERP. So what we see here is this is the big ball of what we have in critical capabilities in cloud ERP. The blue balls, those are the critical capabilities, so the processes, the activities, the things that you need to have in place to ensure that you have a successful cloud ERP process in place. Because you need to manage this like a normal ERP installation in your organization, which is who does what, where, when, how, and what do we need to get out of it. The pink balls, they give you the questions that are aligned with with the critical capabilities. So they'll show you what to ask your management team, your vendor, the people you work with, your staff, your colleagues. Like, do we have that? Do we know this? And we'll dive into a lot of those balls later on to give you an idea. The yellow balls, they are the most important words, as I call them, and they will provide a word cloud. They'll provide a word cloud to us to show that these are the words that are most important to think about when you look at cloud ERP, when you want to manage cloud ERP. And these words, we can click on them later on, and the critical capabilities will unfold, and so will the questions as well. The blue ones here, they are the topics. So like there is a word cloud, there's also a topic cloud. Topics that are adjacent to cloud ERP. So for instance, you can imagine that with cloud ERP, you have a lot to do with cybersecurity. So what do we have in place there? Click on cybersecurity, poof, all the things that you need to do for cybersecurity in relation to cloud ERP pop up. So this is the whole cloud in a nutshell. There's close to 2,500 topics in there, critical capabilities, and all their relationships that are in there. Now, they're all prioritized. Otherwise, it'll get a big mumble jumble like we see here. They're all prioritized and prioritized. The prioritization are the green little dots here. The green little dots is the priority, and the prioritization is based on the proximity, on the weight of the criteria in relation to other criteria. And if we run our homegrown AI over it, it'll show us what the highest priorities are, and the highest priorities will flow to the top. And those are the ones that are the lowest hanging fruit, and we need to put in place right away. So to show you that, I can quickly go to the very, very first one, the highest prioritized one. Yep, let's copy it here, the highest prioritized one. So this tells me the one with the highest priority. The number one that we need to have in place. We need to be confident that our team is including change management efforts and support organizational-wide change initiatives such as successful enterprise implementations, development, upgrades, development of internal customer experience roadmaps and executions for engagement, development and support of data platforms and business intelligence, because that's what we want to get out of our ERP system. It's not just data in, we want to get business intelligence out of it, like what are our lead times for manufacturing, where does our sourcing come from, where do we have problems in our supply chain, how's our financial forecasting looking like. If I double click on it, we'll see that the highest number here is 2316, the number, so that means because this is the number one, there's 2,316 critical capabilities in the Kanban that these come from. The Kanban itself, I'll show you later as well. That's in the link down below. You can go to there, you can play around with the Kanban, and for commercial purposes, it's for sale. Now, what else do we see here? There's a must-have ball. The must-have ball, that's the highest priority that we need to have in place here. The highest priorities, um, and we'll go to that later as well. So a question to ask here for this one: what are the key changes in process and resources? And that's something that you want to keep asking all the time when you're doing this, when you're managing change management efforts around your cloud ERP solution, and what kind of business intelligence do you want to get out of it? What are the key changes in process and resources? This comes out of the topic. This is related to the topic post-implementation review, which makes perfect sense because after in a post-implementation review, you want to see how things have been going actually. So if I double click on that, we'll see another one that comes up here. Be certain that your organization has past involvement managing large SaaS application implementation upgrade projects like CRM, ERP. Uh, Cloud ERP is not just a simple undertaking, it's a large undertaking. If you want to migrate from in-house ERP to a cloud ERP, that's a massive undertaking. You need to be aware of that. So it would be great if you have staff or contractors in place that have past involvement managing those large SaaS applications and migrating them. Uh, this one's related to project. Will there be clear accountability between your organization and the cloud provider? And you see this is a must-have and that's a should-have that we have in place. So this is the number one highest priority. Be confident that your team is including change management efforts and support organizational-wide change initiatives to get BI out of your data platforms and ERP. The highest priority one, prioritized one. Now, I told you about the prioritization. Now, the prioritization is based on proximity, density, frequency, all AI, artificial intelligence concepts in natural language processing. And here we have the five priorities that our critical capabilities, the 2,500, are organized in. So we have the one, the must have, two should have, then three ought to have, four might have, and five, yeah, whatever, we'll do that later, right? We'll consider that later. But these are the absolute ones that we need to have now. So we're going to drag those out. And if I double click, we're probably going to get a lot of balls, stuff that we need to do. Poof, these are all the things that we need to do. So these are all the ones in the must have category for cloud ERP, and I won't read them out loud. We'll go through a couple of them soon, but not all of them. So I will pan over them, and you can have a quick peek on what's going on here. This is obviously a live session, so it's hard to pause, but it's going to be recorded and on YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. So you can pause and rewatch it there and go through what is in here as well. Also, if you simply go to the link in the show notes below, that's where the Kanban is. That's where all these critical capabilities come from, and the questions come from the toolkits and the books that we provide as well. So you see all the areas that are related, all the critical capabilities that are related to must-have. You need to have this in place. I'm just gonna pick one because you know me, I can't help myself. Pick one. Let's pick a short one. Otherwise, we'll assure your staff is involved in managing organizational and business process change. There we go. Well, I've said that before already. It's a massive change, and you need to be prepared for organizational change. If I double click on this one, see what comes up. Here's a question I need to be asking when I focus on this one is, how are attitudes evolving in the area of information technology-based business change? Especially with people working from home these days and in the past few years, how are their attitudes evolving, and not specifically for the people working at home, but more for management? How's that evolving? Because originally working from home was sort of frowned upon because we can't see what people are doing, we can't control them, they're lazy, they're slacking off in the garden, sitting in the sun, taking the kids to school and all that. Rubbish, nonsense. People are more productive when they work from home. We found out over the past couple of years than when they are in the office and chatting at the water cooler and standing in traffic waiting to get there. So organizational and business process change is definitely something you need to focus on here. So now let us focus on the five highest prioritized ones, because this is all the must-haves. That's a lot basically. Let's just drill down the five that are most important and unpack them and see what's in there. Double click. There we go. Open up. Because I'm always keen to see what the related keywords are, and the questions that we need to focus on here. Let's pick a short one, because you see there's a lot of text, which basically means if you do all these fives and you have all those five in place in your organization, you're well on your way or in managing cloud ERP the right way and having everything under control. I can just zoom in here. Safeguard your organization has involvement with ERP. Lab projects required involvement supporting ERP interrelated systems, enterprise environment, defining system strategy, developing systems requirements, designing and prototyping, testing, training, defining support procedures, and implementing practical business solutions under multiple deadlines. Bam! Have that in place. That's what you need to do here. This came out of DevOps IoT, which is really interesting to me, because DevOps is development and operation. So the integration between the continuous improvement of the software development and pushing it into operation. And IoT is obviously in the Internet of Things. So with a manufacturing organization, you can sort of assume, of a logistics organization, that there are IoT things in each and every one of their machines to track where they are, how long they've been operating, if there's any problems with them. And that software needs to be updated all the time. And that's what DevOps basically does, continuous integration. Now, that came out of that one, and that feeds into our ERP system, that data. So that's why this came out of there. Great example of how it's all connected and integrated. Are activities documented at the time of performance is a question we need to ask for business design and implementation of ERP. And this one here, what are the key changes in process and resources? That's something that we continuously need to be aware of. That's the number one. We spoke of that one before. What is manufacturing resource planning, and how can it help your organization? Oh, that goes to the answer to this one is drive enterprise level architecture standards to support business process transformations in areas such as ERP, product lifecycle management, and MES, manufacturing execution systems, all related to enterprise, things that we need to do here. I'm just going to go and click on enterprise, see what comes up. These are the things I need to focus on specifically on enterprise when there's a cloud ERP systems when I'm focusing on cloud ERP for an enterprise system. These are the balls I need to focus on here. There. I'll put them in frame so you can zoom. You can pause and zoom in the replay. Verify your process involved in ERP design, implementation, and sustainment. Use expertise and skills in enterprise solution technologies to develop and enhance the ERP practice. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see if there's anything else. Drive enterprise level architecture standards here to support business process transformations in areas such as enterprise resource planning, PLM, and MES. See, all the enterprise related areas. Find cloud ERP and enterprise value solutions for internal clients and share best practices across the industry. I'm going to click on that one because that piques my interest. This is an all to have. Yeah, I can imagine that. Question is, what are the best practices you can use to improve and accelerate change in your enterprise? There we go. Be a change agent. Said it before. This is how you can do it. Use the blue balls. Next. Let's have a look at how all questions are related to the critical capabilities. So this tells you a story of what you should be focusing on. So if you want to have a quick hour and dive into cloud ERP and what we need to do, there you go. Here's your roadmap. Focus on these things, and you're 80% way ahead of the rest of anyone out there. This will show you, the next command I'm going to show you is all the criteria in there, all the critical capabilities, and their questions. Now, this is another way of just looking at what I need to do for cloud ERP to be successful, because this approach will just give me some ideas. So this doesn't focus on the highest prioritized ones, but it focuses on all the critical capabilities and the questions that are related to them. So what I can do is just pick one or two questions and just ask them to my management, ask my management team, ask my staff, ask the people I work with, ask my vendors. How do critical success factors of ERP implementation change through a cloud-based business model? A question. Here, the answer would be verify your process is involved in data integration across ERP platforms and related business applications. Related to ERP, and it's a must have. Oh, now I've done it. See, they're all coming out to play. Now, what else do we have? You can pan over it. You can have a quick peek. All the questions and the answers that are related to them. The answers are here, and the questions that are related to them. So this is another way of just looking at it and coming up with ideas for a conversation. How can ERP drive digital transformation for growing businesses? What channels? Oh, it's gone now. Oh, it's still moving. Stop moving. Can the TCO be broken down by department or application? What steps will you take to ensure work order procedures are met? What are the key changes in process and resources, etc., etc. So these questions come out of the toolkits, the self-assessment toolkits, and that's where they are prioritized in their maturity, in the maturity of how your acceptance of cloud ERP is. So there's 7 stages of maturity, and the toolkit goes through the whole phase, all the phases of them, with up to 1,000 criteria, 1,000 questions, and they're logically structured to figure out how mature you are and what you need to do next. If you don't know what to do next, if you don't have the answer to the question, then I can highly recommend these critical capabilities, because they will give you insight in what you need to do. And they're the Kanbans that are in the link down below. If you go there, you can actually see them and play around with them, what you need to do there. Now let's have fun with the word cloud. I told you before about the word cloud, the yellow words, the most important words in relationship to cloud ERP. And there we go. Look at this. I'm going to zoom in. I'm first going to zoom out because I want to show it off. Look at this. Word cloud. Now zoom in. Zoom in and see if there are words in here that you think are related to cloud ERP. Oh, by the way, I'm speaking to you. We have a chat box as well, and because I'm on the full frame of the full frame of the knowledge database, I'm looking at the chat box only sporadically every now and then I'll answer your questions at the end. But feel free to post comments and questions, and I will have a look at them before we sign off, so we can go through them together. So, strategies, audits, stakeholders, requirements, all words that come to top of mind when we talk about cloud ERP. Sourcing, security, performance. Wow. Okay. Well, now I feel greedy. I'm going to click on one or two. Shall we click on security? Let's do that. These are the things I at least need to have a look at. Verify your personnel is responsible for security, the help desk, ERP, network and infrastructure. Define and manage ERP environment and ERP application security needs. Develop and help implement best practices, ERP segregation of duties. Look at that. Now we're diving into the deep end. Segregation of duty security processes. Good question to ask here is, what business processes and outcomes can businesses achieve through the cloud? Well, first have segregation of duties in place here. Related to security. And it came from IPsec, IP security. Let's have another one. Let's have a look at another one. I can also, and that makes it a bit more easier way to have a look at it. These are all the words that are in there. Let's just drill down to the 10 most important words. So the heaviest words. So the AI said these are the heaviest words that you need to look at when you deal with this. Product, project, process, data, system, design, management, functional, technology, and enterprise. All right, which one shall we click? How about design? Let's do design. See what comes up. These are the critical capabilities that I need to look at from a design perspective in cloud ERP. Ensure you are relentless in achieving clarity in all strategy, functional, and design deliverables. Bam! Yes, do that. Who will be the decision makers for strategy and design approvals? That's what I need to know. And you see, this came out of Oracle Fusion Cloud ERP. Obviously, one of the large cloud ERP players. Design, the topic, the self-assessment here. Well, going back. All right, we were at design. There we go, design. We had that one. Our customer and contractual requirements developed and managed. Develop experience gathering requirements, designing, prototyping, testing, and deploying ERP solutions. HCM. There we go. Related to HCM, which probably has some as well. Now, not in here, but it's a separate topic in itself as well, and has a large set of critical capabilities attached to it. Not in here, but not in relationship to cloud ERP, but in general. Design and develop solutions to integrate applications with the core ERP platform. Opa. Do you integrate with other applications? Oh, that's a good question to ask. Not just for the core ERP platform, but also for other applications that you want to integrate with it. And obviously, a vendor always says yes when you ask that's possible, where the answer then probably means, yes, we can do that. Is it integrated? Yes, we can do that. All right, so for enterprise, this is what these are the most important words to look at for cloud ERP and all the criteria that go with it. When I want to focus on process, I click on this one. These are all the activities I need to focus on to have the process in place to manage the cloud ERP solution the right way. Here, lead groups in business process re-engineering, best practices, and customization issues. Check that your personnel is involved in holding process design sessions with internal client teams, etc., etc. So there's a lot of good stuff here. Lead design workshops, capturing and documenting requirements and business processes. All right, a lot of good stuff there. Now, let's have a look at, like we had a word cloud, we also have a subject cloud, like I said. And we're going to have a look at that right now, the subject cloud. So subjects that are related to cloud ERP, for example, cybersecurity, like I said before. So these are the things that we need to have in place. We need to align with cloud ERP solutions. IT policies, ET phone home. IT policies, cloud adoption, order to cash, industry 4.0. Let me zoom in a bit because you probably can't see it. It's probably too small. Post-merger integration, ISO 27000, which is ISMS, so security management system. Data and analytics governance, procurement, digital twin, cloud security strategy. Oh, yeah. Supply chain metrics. I'm just going to click on one to see what comes up. Supply chain metrics. If we want to focus on supply chain metrics, these are the things that I need to focus on in relation to cloud ERP solutions. Certify your process updates and adjust ERP parameters with priority. Maintain master files in the ERP system as item master, facility planning, and bills of material for supply chain metrics. Serve as subject matter expert in ERP supply chain data repository resources and data management tools. Use ERP software to support production planning, capacity planning, and operational management for supply chain metrics. Manage ERP system action messages and provide the manager feedback to improve key supply chain metrics. Now, I'm just for the fun of it, going to double click on them and see what comes up if I want to focus on supply chain metrics specifically here. There, now, if I want to focus on supply chain metrics specifically, these are the things that I need to have a look at. So I've unfolded them there, and I'm going to zoom in again so we can have a look at them. There we go. Certify a process. So we've gone through all of those. So these are the actions that need to be in place. How do you restrict access to specific help files? Which tools do you use currently for security for your website? Will project managers enter amounts in multiple currencies? Good question to ask. Will there be sufficient commercial and legal capacity to challenge value for money and compliance? Ooh, that's more a philosophical question to me. Well, you get the idea. There's loads of topics that you need to focus on here when you're thinking of cloud ERP, topics that are related. And this will give you a good insight in how they are all related and questions to ask and how prioritized they are. IT due diligence, a single sign-on for access, data center facilities, incident remediation, cybersecurity, etc., etc. Business workflow. So I like this. It gives you always gives me a good idea of what's involved in cloud ERP. It's not just the one thing, the one piece of software. I need to think of so many other things in my organization to make this a success. And this will help me with that. This, together with the word cloud, and the topic cloud adoption framework, enterprise architecture, all these things I need to think about to have in place. Oracle CPQ, DevSecOps, IPsec, Del Boomi even. Insider threat prevention. Okay, I can't help myself. I'm going to click on this one. Insider threat prevention strategy. What do we have here? What comes up? Yep. Insider threat prevention strategy. The balls want to get away from me. See that? That's because they're connected to that one. They want to connect. Have QA and ERP testing involvement and background. Have involvement in ERP test lead roles. Test lead roles for insider threat prevention. All right. So these are all the topics that are related to Cloud ERP, and they'll give you great insight and overview in what you need to cover, actually. If I want to make it easier on myself, I'll go like, okay, that's a bit much, all these topics. Let's just pick the top 10. There we go. So these are the 10 with the highest priorities that I need to have in place. Cybersecurity policy, enterprise data governance, target operating model. So think ahead and plan of what you want to achieve. What is your target operating model of the ERP cloud, which obviously is the biggest topic. What solution architecture are you going to have in place? DevOps, IoT, how you're going to roll out changes to your Internet of Things environment, specifically to manufacturing organizations. Post-implementation review, how are you going to target that? And here's an example: Spark System Enterprise Architect of other solutions that are in place. Buyer personas I need to look at, Cloud ERP we had, and cybersecurity policy. Enterprise data governance as well, obviously. So these are the 10 most interesting topics to have a look at, to dive into. That'll take you down the path, down the rabbit hole of what you need to cover for Cloud ERP. These are the 20. See, pull up more. These are the 20 hot topics. Okay. Now, what the critical capabilities will help you with, and I'll show you the critical capabilities. If I go for this one, this will show you all the big blue balls, all the critical capabilities that are in there, and it's a lot. But I can use this to focus on a single topic to figure out an answer to a question that I might have. So I can figure out what I need to do and what I need to put in place and need to have. So for that, let's just start out with a question. It's question time, people. Question time. If you have a question, just put it in the Q&A box, and we'll have a look at it when I'm done here. The question is, does your organization have a strategy to move business functions, applications to a cloud-based service? So I'm interested in looking at critical capabilities that have a relationship with strategy and cloud. So I've done that. I'll do it again. See, there they come. Poof. These are the 2 critical capabilities. Develop and execute cloud migration strategy for ERP to move to a hosted, managed environment. Have an ERP roadmap in place. Orchestrate integration strategy between HCM, ERP, cloud, and downstream systems. Think about integration. Oh, what's our word here? ERP. ERP roadmap and IT product line management needs to be in place. So the questions here to ask is, can the software, hardware, networking, and redundancy infrastructure be hosted offsite? Can it actually be done before we move to a cloud-based service? Do your current ERP and HCM applications provide the information you need to make the decisions for your organizations? Is it fine what you have? Do you need to migrate what you have, or do you need to think of a completely new solution, a greenfield solution to be put in place? Now, if I want to click on, I can click further, see what comes up here. ERP roadmap. I clicked on ERP roadmap, which is something that we need for our cloud ERP service. So ERP roadmap is right here. These are all the topics that we need to cover in our cloud ERP roadmap if we want to have that in place. Ensure that all ERP applications are reliable, resilient, secure, and compliant. Establish that your operation acts as a project lead architect for all ERP projects. Verify that your process involved in data integration across ERP platforms and related business applications, etc., etc. I'll pan over it. So in the replay, you can pause it and you can have a look at what's in here for this specific topic. Moving to the cloud, well, you need to prepare for that. Or orchestrate an integration strategy between HCM, ERP cloud, and downstream systems. Provide direction leading to successful ERP plan development and implementation. All good areas. Let's see, how are we for time, people? Oh, we're half an hour in. Let's do one more and then call it a day for today. One more. Another question I got here. Uh, How will concerns around cloud governance, availability, and security impact the adoption of cloud services? So, definitely governance I'm looking for here. So, if I look at governance, these are all the critical capabilities that cover cloud governance. Build a team of C2C solution owners that focus on transparency, process standards, and data governance. Click. I'm going to do this. Let me open them all up first so we can have an overview, insight in what's going on here. What's behind the scene? What's under the kimono? Let's have a look. Yeah. What do we need to cover? Got them all? I think we need this one too. Yeah. All right, there we are. So, how will concerns around data governance, availability, and security impact the adoption of cloud services? Certify staff is responsible for project governance, stewardship, financial management, and project planning. Good idea. Support the ERP governance model to ensure compliance among team members for identified best practices, process utilization requirements. Yeah, want that. Ask the question, how does your organization ensure that an ERP project results in full utilization of the new system's functionality and benefits? And it's related to total cost of ownership. Have the process in place. Here we talk about integration. How will concerns about data governance, availability, and security impact the adoption of cloud services? Ensure your services include due diligence, merger integration, carve-out planning and execution, transition service agreement, negotiation and governance, ERP implementations, IT operations and cost reduction, and enterprise architecture. Now here is your roadmap for when you need to have a look at what do we need to cover for governance, data governance, availability, and security impact in the adoption of cloud services. Now, I hope you have enough data right now. There's lots to cover, lots of ground to go through. This will give you a great insight in Cloud ERP, what you need to manage, the relationships, the questions you need to ask. Go to the link down here, Cloud ERP Critical Capabilities. You'll find the Kanban. The Kanban is organized in swim lanes, and the swim lanes are basically the small blue balls, the light blue balls here. So the topics that we need to cover, and the yellow balls, the most important criteria, most important words. You can scroll through them, you can search in them, it's all there, so you can have a deep insight in what actually needs to be covered for Cloud ERP. Now I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to leave you with it, and which is my favorite. Just let it rip. That's what I'm doing here. I'm gonna go with show me everything that's in here. That's how we started. And once it comes up and starts to show things, I'm gonna tell you I had a great time. I loved walking you through this and showing you what's in here, while our Cloud ERP knowledge graph is building, is showing us what's going on. I leave you with this. Thank you, and see you.